The shuttle touched down on the Academy's landing field with a hiss of vented plasma. Cadet Talia Marin pressed her palm against the viewport, trying to calm her racing pulse. Beyond the shimmering barrier fields that kept the air stable, the Orion Concord Academy rose in tiers of silver spires and grav tram rails, like an entire city built for warriors of every species in the known galaxy. It was the first time a human had been admitted to the Academy. Humanity had joined the Concord only a decade ago, still considered a young civilization among empires that had spanned thousands of years. Talia was their token, part experiment, part test case. Every movement she made, every word she spoke, would reflect on Earth. The cadets waiting outside the shuttle looked nothing like humans. The Academy drew the best from all 27 Concord species, but today it was the Ver Kael that dominated the platform. They were the predators of myth, leonine builds covered in slate-gray fur, eyes like burning gold, jaws bristling with tusk-like fangs. Their culture was built on trials of dominance, and they made no secret that they viewed most herbivorous or tool-reliant species as lesser. And there, standing in a loose half-circle, were a cluster of Ver Kael adolescents, cubs in training, though each was taller and broader than Talia by half. They didn't cheer when the human cadet emerged. They growled. Beginning. The arrival of the outsider. Human. The tallest cub, shoulders draped in the striped training sash of the first years, stepped forward. His fangs glistened as he smiled without humor. You walk on 2 weak legs and carry soft flesh. What weapon do you hide, prey creature? Surely the Concord would not insult us by sending you bare. The others rumbled laughter, slapping their tails against the deck plating. Talia adjusted her cadet jacket, its blackened silver trim still stiff with newness. She swallowed down the instinct to shrink back. Every camera drone circling the arrival platform was recording, broadcasting her first encounter across the Concord networks. No weapons, she said. The Academy is where we become the weapons. The cub's grin widened. He leaned close, exhaling a hot carnivore breath across her face. Then perhaps we should sharpen you first. His fangs clicked together in challenge. Every part of Talia screamed to retreat, but she remembered the words drilled into her during training on Earth. Predators respect only what resists. She pulled her lips back, baring her own teeth. Not fangs, not tusks, but teeth nonetheless, and hissed a sharp exhale through them. It was a human snarl, primal and unrefined, but it startled the nearest cubs. The lead one flinched only slightly before his amusement deepened. The prey bear's teeth. His voice was rich with mockery but also a trace of respect. Perhaps you will not die on your first day. Middle, trials by fire. The days that followed were a crucible. Cadets were thrown into combat simulations, survival trials, and the merciless academic studies of interstellar strategy. For Talia, it was like trying to climb a cliff made of shifting sand. The Ver Kael cubs hounded her. They blocked her path in corridors, challenged her during drills, and made bets on how soon she would fail. The leader, who finally introduced himself as Ravax, seemed particularly invested in proving her unworthy. But Talia endured. In the jungle survival exercise, when the cadets were dropped on a hostile moon with nothing but a week's rations, it was Talia who rigged water filters from torn uniforms and a fragment of shuttle shielding. The cubs, born hunters, had no patience for such work. They grudgingly drank from her supply when the rivers ran dry. In the zero-gravity combat chamber, she was thrown and battered mercilessly, but she adapted. Humans, it turned out, had a strange knack for adjusting to changing vectors. Her smaller frame let her slip between the Ver Kael's lunges, turning their momentum against them. By the third week, the mockery grew quieter. The cubs still snarled, but now it was edged with curiosity. Tension at the core. The academy wasn't only training cadets. It was a political experiment. Rumors spread that certain Concord factions wanted humanity expelled, claiming they were unfit for frontline duty. The Kaelen elders in particular considered Earth a liability. So when the midterm trial was announced, the tension soared. The cadets would be split into mixed-species squads and sent into the Hollow Station, an abandoned Concord outpost riddled with automated defense drones. Their task: capture the Central Command Module and hold it until retrieval. Fail and you were dismissed from the academy. Talia's squad was a nightmare assignment. 3 Kaelen cubs, including Ravax himself, plus 1 crystalline Theron cadet who communicated only in harmonic tones. The cubs were livid at being saddled with a human, and they made no secret that they considered her dead weight. The trial begins. The Hollow Station was a labyrinth of broken corridors and shadowed bulkheads. Defense drones swarmed like mechanical wasps, their plasma bolts scorching walls and searing through cover. The Kaelen charged headlong into battle, tearing drones apart with claws and energy blades. But their ferocity left their flanks exposed, and the station had more traps than any single cadet could anticipate. It was Talia who noticed the drone patrols moving in patterned sweeps. She redirected the squad to ambush instead of rushing blindly. She rewired access panels to seal off choke points. She even coordinated with the Theron, whose harmonic pulses disrupted drone sensors just long enough for the others to strike. Ravax snarled at every order she gave, but he followed. And when an ambush nearly overwhelmed them, it was Talia who shoved him out of the line of fire and dropped the drone with a scavenged plasma pistol. By the time they reached the command module, the cubs' mockery was gone. They fought at her side as equals, though their pride kept them from saying it aloud. The betrayal. Victory seemed certain, until another squad appeared. Older cadets, not just Kaelen but also Scaled Dravathi and Towering Ulthar, stormed the command chamber. "This is not your prize," their leader sneered. "Step aside or be crushed." The Kaelen cubs bristled, tails lashing. They were strong but outnumbered. Talia stepped forward, heart hammering. Every camera drone was still watching. If humanity faltered here, their reputation would collapse across the Concord. She bared her teeth again, not in fear but in challenge. "We took this module. If you want it, come and bleed for it." The older cadets laughed. But then the cubs behind her growled low and dangerous. For the first time they weren't laughing at her. They were standing with her. The battle was chaos. Plasma fire lit the chamber. Blades clashed against shields. Drones swarmed in confusion. Talia fought with every ounce of training she had, darting between cover, striking at exposed joints. At one point she was cornered by a Dravathi, its tail blade poised to gut her. But Ravax leapt over her shoulder, fangs sinking into scaled flesh, saving her life. In the end they held the module. Battered, burned, half-conscious, but unbroken. Ending, fangs bared together. When the retrieval ships finally arrived, the cadets staggered back into the academy hangars. The instructors recorded the outcome, noting every decision, every casualty, every act of leadership. And then something unthinkable happened.